Our past is third, a textbook of history for class 8. Dear students, today our topic is civilizing the native, educating the nation. Chapter number 7. Dear students, in civilizing the native, educating the nation, will in this chapter we will understand the implication British rule had on the lives of students. The British in India wanted not only territorial conquest and control over revenues, they also felt they had a cultural mission. They had to civilize the natives, change their customs and values. Now, students, we will read the chapter. Now, first topic is how the British saw education, the tradition of Orientalism. Dear students, in 1783, William Jones arrived in Kolkata, appointed as a junior judge at the Supreme Court. Jones was a legist who had studied Greek and Latin at Oxford and knew French, English, Arabic, and Parisian. At Kolkata, he learned the subtitles of Sanskrit language, grammar, and poetry from Pandits. He also studied ancient Indian texts on law, philosophy, religion, politics, morality, arithmetic, medicine, and the other sciences. Henry Thomas Colebrook and Nathaniel Held were also interested in the ancient Indian heritage, to master the Indian language and to translate Sanskrit and Parisian works into English. Jones, along with them, set up the Ascetic Society of Bengal and started a journal called Asiatic Researches. Jones and Colebrook felt that the Indian civilization had attained its glory in the ancient past but had subsequently declined. To understand India better, it was necessary to describe the sacred and legal texts that were produced in the ancient period. Jones and Colebrook went to discovering ancient texts, understanding their meaning, translating them, and making their findings known to others. This project will help Indians rediscover their own heritage and understand the lost glories of their past. The company officials felt that institutions should encourage the study of ancient Indian texts and Sanskrit and Parisian literature and poetry. Hindus and Muslims should learn what they were already familiar with and what they valued and treasured. In 1781, a madrasa was set up in Kolkata to promote the study of Arabic, Parisian, and Islamic law, and the Hindu college was established in Banaras in 1791 to encourage the study of ancient Sanskrit texts that would be useful for the administration of the country. So, next topic is grave errors of the East. Dear student, the British officials started criticizing the Orientalist vision of learning and said that knowledge of the East was full of errors and unscientific thought. Eastern literature was non-serious and light-hearted. James Mill was one of those who attacked the Orientalists. The aim of education should be to teach what was useful and practical. So Indians should be familiar with the scientific and technical advances that the West had made. Thomas Babin Gorton McLaury saw India as an uncivilized country that needed to be civilized. He urged that the British government in India should stop wasting public money in promoting Oriental learning, for it was of no practical use. McLaury thought English language would help Indians to read some of the finest literature the world had produced, make them aware of the developments in Western science and philosophy. The English Education Act of 1835 was introduced and English was made the medium of instruction for higher education. English textbooks began to be produced for schools. Now, my dear student, next topic is education for commerce. Dear students, in 1854, the Court of Directors of the East India Company in London sent an educational dispatch to the Governor General in India. It was issued by Charles Wood, the president of the Board of Control of the company, known as Wood's Dispatch. It draws an outline of the educational policy that was to be followed in India and emphasized on the practical benefits of a system of European learning as opposed to Oriental language. European learning would enable Indians to recognize the advantages of the expansion of trade and commerce and the importance of developing the resource of the country. By adopting European ways of life, their taste and desires would change. European learning would improve the moral character of Indians. The British introduced several measures following the 1854 dispatch. Education department of the government were set up to extend control over all matters regarding education. Steps were taken to establish a system of university education in 1857. Universities were being established in Kolkata, Madras, and Mumbai. Attempts were also made to bring about change within the system of school education. Now, my dear students, next topic is what happened to the local schools. The report of William Adam. My dear students, in the 1830s, William Adam toured the districts of Bengals and Bihar and had been asked by the company to report on the progress of education in vernacular schools. According to the report presented by Adam, over 1 lakh Pathshalas were present in Bengal and Bihar with no more than 20 students each. These institutions were set up by wealthy people or the local community. The education system was flexible with no fixed fee, no printed books, no separate school buildings, no benches or chairs, no blackboards, no system of separate classes, no roll call registers, no annual examinations, and no regular timetable. Classes were held under a banyan tree in the corner of a village shop or temple or at the guru's home. School fees depended on the income of the parents. The rich had to pay more than the poor. The guru decided what to teach orally in accordance with the needs of the students. Students were sat together in one place and the guru interacted separately with groups of children with different levels of learning. This flexible system was suited to local needs. During the harvest time, classes were not held. The Pathshala started once again when the crops had been cut and stored. Now, new routines and new rules. Dear students, the company was concerned primarily with higher education. After 1854, the company decided to improve the system of vernacular education by introducing order within the system, imposing routines, establishing rules, ensuring regular inspections. The company appointed a number of government pundits, gave them charge of 4 to 5 schools. The task of the pandit was to visit the Pathshala and try and improve the standard of teaching. Each guru was asked to submit periodic reports and take classes according to a regular timetable. Teaching was based on textbook and learning was to be tested through a system of annual examination. Students were asked to pay a regular fee and regular classes, sit on fixed seats, and obey the new rules of disciplines. Pathshala, which accepted the new rules, were supported through government grants. The consequence of new rules and routines was earlier children from poor peasant families had been able to go to Pathshalas since the timetable was flexible. The new system demanded regular attendance even during harvest time, and children of poor families had to work in the fields. Now, next is the agenda for a national education. My dear students, before the British official, many thinkers from different parts of India began to talk of the need for a wider separate of education. Some Indians felt that Western education would help modernize India and urged the British to open more schools, colleges, and universities and spend more money on education. There were other Indians who reacted against Western education. Mahatma Gandhi and Rabindranath Tagore were two such individuals. Now, English education has enslaved us. According to Mahatma Gandhi, Western civilization created a sense of inferiority in the minds of Indians. It made the Indian perceive it as superior and destroyed the pride they had in their own culture. Indians educated in these institutions began admiring British rule. Mahatma Gandhi wanted an education that could help Indians recover their sense of dignity and self respect. During the national movement, he urged students to leave educational institutions in order to show to the British that Indians were no longer willing to be enslaved. Education in English distanced Indians for their own social surroundings and made them strangers in their own lands. Mahatma Gandhi said that education ought to help a person's minds and soul. Literacy did not count as education as nationalist sentiments separate. Other thinkers also began thinking of a system of national education which would be radically different from the setup by the British. Now, Tagore's Abode of Peace. Dear students, Rabindranath Tagore started Shanti Niketan in 1901. During his childhood days, he found school suffocating and oppressive. So, after growing up, he wanted to establish a school where the child was happy, free, and creative, and able to explore his own thoughts and desires. He felt that childhood ought to be a time of self-learning outside the rigid and restricting discipline of the schooling system set up by the British. According to Tagore, the existing school killed the natural desire of the child be creative along with his sense of wonder. Tagore said that creative learning could be encouraged only within a natural environment. Gandhiji was against Western civilization and its worship of machines and technology. Tagore, on the other hand, wanted to combine elements of modern Western civilization with the best Indian tradition. He emphasized the need to teach science and technology at Shantiniketan along with art, music, and dance. Many individuals and thinkers were thinking of a way as to how the national educational system could be fashioned. Some wanted changes within the system set up by the British and felt that the system could be extended to include wider sections of people. Others urged that alternative system be created so that people were educated into a culture that was ट्रूली नेशनल. सो ये था आपका चैप्टर स्टूडेंट, चैप्टर नंबर 7, सिविलाइजिंग द नेटिव एजुकेटिंग द नेशन.